In the novel Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane, we follow the life of Rachel Childs, who is a journalist and reporter for several different companies throughout the novel. We follow Rachel as she tries to balance work, a marriage, looking for her father, and her social life all at once. Rachel had a very rough childhood as her mother was an award-winning novelist who was extremely absent in Rachel's life for many years. Rachel also grew up without a father, and her mother withheld any information regarding his whereabouts or who he was. We follow Rachel's journey for several years, and she ends up landing at the opportunity to report on the 2010 Haiti earthquake. While in Haiti, she is juggling her marriage, her career, the search for her father, and the tragedy and heartbreak surrounding her. While reporting on the events in Haiti, she turns to alcohol and drugs to cope with all of the devastation she is immersed in, which then leads her to an on-air mental breakdown that shatters her career, her marriage, and her psychological well-being. In the novel Since We Fell, Dennis Lehane illustrates a realistic depiction of a broken mother-daughter relationship, a toxic marriage, exposure to international tragedies, a continuous search for one's father, and the effects they have on one's psychological well-being. This first image illustrates the frustration that both Rachel and her mother, Elizabeth, feel throughout their relationship during Rachel's childhood. Elizabeth was always busy with work or her social life, which causes Rachel to receive little attention. This next image represents Elizabeth dragging Rachel away from any sort of relationship with her father. This causes Rachel to be left with a part of her feeling empty, as well as creates resentment towards her mother. This image here expresses again how Elizabeth did not let Rachel have any contact with her father or receive any information regarding his whereabouts. The included quotation summarizes what Rachel thinks her mother has taken away from her, and it also reveals the amount of dislike that has developed over the years. Next, we see a quick visual example of how Rachel experiences neglect from her mother from a very young age. This last image and quotation for subtopic 1 represent how Elizabeth acted as if withholding information from Rachel was a game. I have included this image because it displays what seems to be two happy females, which is what Elizabeth thought her actions were doing. However, when paired with this quotation, it becomes apparent that what Elizabeth thought was beneficial for Rachel was actually the opposite. This first image for subtopic 2 expresses the divide between Sebastian and Rachel that has worsened over the years. These next two images are interrelated as they illustrate the first night that Rachel was back home after the incident in Haiti. Rachel needed to come home to a loving and supporting husband, but she failed to receive that. She instead was left with Sebastian staying on his boat for quite a while, as he thought that Rachel's breakdown had destroyed their relationship. This causes Rachel to turn to alcohol to heal the psychological damage that Sebastian had done. The quotation shown at the bottom is a passage from the novel summarizing this night. This next image displays a couple arguing, which was very common throughout Sebastian and Rachel's relationship. Although some may state that arguing is healthy for a relationship, in Rachel and Sebastian's case, it was constant and relentless, and it had adverse effects on Rachel's psychological well-being. This next and final image for subtopic 2 expresses a woman, Rachel, lying in bed staring at the clock, waiting for time to pass by. It is linked with this quotation because it reveals how Rachel believed that not seeing Sebastian while in a relationship was a good thing because it added a year to their marriage, while in reality, if not seeing your significant other is the only thing keeping your marriage together, it is clearly a toxic marriage and will begin to have extreme effects on one's mental health. This first image for subtopic 3 displays a woman, Rachel, sitting at a computer. For a large portion of the novel, Rachel is searching the web trying to track down her father. This next image represents all of Elizabeth's photographs that Rachel searches through, hoping she will find something leading her to her father. When Rachel finally tracks down Jeremy James, she is thrilled and thinks that she finally might fill that hole that she has been trying to fill for so long. She fantasizes about the family she could have had if her father was present growing up. Unfortunately for Rachel, this all comes crumbling down when Jeremy reveals to her that he is not her biological father and took a paternity test to prove it. This has extreme effects on Rachel's well-being, which is proven in the quote that has just passed through the bottom of the screen. This quote reveals that Rachel feels empty without knowing who her father is and relies on people to fill her up, which is evidence of mental health issues. Finally, this last image for subtopic 3 displays a gravestone because when Rachel finally finds the identity of her father, she is let down to know that he died 6 years ago. This image is accompanied by a quotation of an internal thought that Rachel had during this moment. After years and years of emotional and psychological trauma, Rachel is then sent to cover one of the most traumatic and horrifying natural disasters that has ever occurred. While she is there, Rachel bears witness to horrifying sights and turns to drugs and alcohol just to simply make it through the day. While reporting live back to her company in the States, she suffers a mental breakdown on air and continuously repeats, "We're all sick! We're all sick!" And just like that, it's gone. Her career, her marriage, and her sanity. This breakdown sends Rachel into an 18-month-long virtual shut-in, in which she barely leaves her apartment or talks to anyone. In conclusion, it is clear that Rachel's ultimate psychological downfall was due to years and years of both personal trauma and societal struggles, and it was her presence at the Haiti 2010 earthquake that pushed her over the edge.